Episode 6. The Stone Makes Thunder. Maraye fought with the particular ferocity of a man who knows he has nothing to lose except the thing he loves, which means, effectively, everything. He moved with a quickness that surprised the crowd. He had the Ula stone held against his teeth. He had the Bantu dagger. He had 5 days of walking and a lifetime of loving and the knowledge that he was the 7th son of a 7th son, and he chose to believe it meant something enormous. He feinted left, he moved right. He was fast in the way that small things are sometimes fast, not in the grand, powerful way of large men, but in the way of a mongoose. Bo tracked him with his amber eyes. Bo moved, and his movement was the movement of something tectonic, enormous and deliberate, and ultimately unstoppable. The crowd had stopped laughing. They were watching with the full, concentrated attention that human beings give to things that matter. Maraye bit down hard on the Ula stone and felt the power Oto had promised surge through his jaw, his neck, his arm. He drew back. He struck. Bo's first punch arrived slightly before Maraye's. This was not because Bo was faster, though he was. It was not because Bo was stronger, though he was. It was because Bo had bitten down on his own stone, a stone he had been holding in his cheek since before the fight began, with the patience of a man who has planned ahead. And his blow carried within it every element of power that love and fury and absolute commitment could provide. The punch caught Maraye clean. It was the most powerful blow that had ever been delivered in the history of Brokewais. Maraye lost some teeth. His jaw broke. He fell to the red earth of the square with the completeness of a man who has been knocked not merely down but out of the world. He did not pretend for long. He had swallowed the stone with the first impact, and the stone lodged in his throat and stopped all further breath. The broken neck followed the swallowing, each catastrophe arriving in sequence. Maraye lay on the red earth with his imperfectly painted face turned toward the sky. And the sky, apparently, was what he was looking at when he left. The square was silent, with a silence that was different from all the previous silences. This was the silence of consequence, the silence of something over. Bo stood over him for a long moment. Then he reached into his own mouth and removed, from where it had been lodged in his cheek since before the first blow, an Ula stone. He spat it into his palm. He looked at it. He closed his fist around it. The old men said afterward that Oto had come to the edge of the village that evening and sat beneath the nearest Iroko tree and said nothing for a very long time. When the youngest of the elders finally mustered the courage to ask what had happened, why the promised stone had not delivered its power, Oto looked at him with those white-rimmed, deep brown eyes and said, "The stone did not fail. The stone has never failed. I gave Maraye a stone. I gave Bo a stone 3 nights ago when he came to me." "Bo came to you," said the eldest. "Bo came to me," said Oto. "He came because he heard Maraye's declaration. He came because he knew what it meant for a small man to declare against him with that particular look on his face. He came because he recognized love, the real kind, and he wanted to be ready for it. But why give him the stone at all?" Oto was quiet for a time. Above them, the Iroko trees shifted in a wind that did not seem to touch anything else. "Because Maraye was the 7th son of a 7th son," said Oto, "and such a man must be tested in full, not turned aside. Because his father Akeji was owed a debt by this village, a debt that could not be repaid except in the currency of honor. Maraye fought. Maraye chose love over reason and walked into the largest shadow in this village with his chest out. The debt has been paid. He will be remembered. And Bo. Bo also loved his woman," said Oto simply. "He also made his choice. He also came to me and swore he would give everything to keep what he loved. What did you expect? Did you think love would only make warriors of small men?" "Both men were given the same stone," said Oto. "Both men bit down with the full force of what they felt. The stronger love won. That is not a tragedy. That is the nature of things." In the village, Ai sat alone in her compound in the deep blue dusk, and thought about 2 men and 2 stones and the terrible arithmetic of love. She thought about a small man with imperfectly applied war paint and a powerful sword, standing in the center of a circle of laughter with his chin up. She thought about what it meant to be worth that. The fireflies rose above the cassava field in their hundreds, turning the air to fallen sky. Bo came to her compound as he always did, in the cooling evening. He sat beside her without speaking. He took her hand in his enormous one, gently, the way large and powerful things are gentle when they choose to be. They sat there for a long time, beneath the Iroko trees that protected the village, in the country where plants spoke and fire lizards guarded palaces, and love was a thing worth fighting for, and sometimes dying for, in the red earth square, at the center of everything. The strongest love wins, even when it loses. If this story hit you, there's a sequel coming. It's called The Weight of Fathers, and it will make you question everything you just watched. Subscribe to this channel, share this video, comment below which warrior you think was right, because this story isn't over, not even close.